Hello, and welcome to Tracie Momie Reads. I am back again with another video. And yes, I know it's not Friday. So what, pray tell, is this woman doing here on this channel with this modified setup, this background? I feel like I'm sitting on the floor because I was trying to do something different. But nevertheless, she persisted. I am here today on Tuesday, February 24th, as we come to the end of Black History Month, as we, at least here in Texas, I don't know about, other parts of the country, we're into the second week of early voting. I feel like everything was so timely, and the stars aligned, and the universe is making this perfect moment for me to come onto this YouTube channel and tell you about my new book, The Candidate's Betrayal. It comes out today. It is now available for you to purchase today. The Candidate's Betrayal. This is actually my 8th book, if you can believe that. 8. Yeah, E-I-G-H-T. And I am so excited to come and talk to you guys today about my book, since I'm always on here ranting, raving, and reviewing other people's books. And I will not be giving out any spoilers. Everything will just be general commentary, giving you a little bit more in depth about me, about the book, about why I wrote the story. And to keep me on track, I actually wrote my own questions. Okay, but I will start off by telling you what this book is about. And we're going to go line for line on the back of this blurb. So consider this your author reading for today. Racing toward a historic Senate bid, one candidate finds his dreams and his reputation threatened in a gripping story of buried secrets, broken loyalties, and love lost and found. Y'all interested? Y'all really want to know what this is about. So let me keep going. James Griffin is on the verge of a historic Senate victory, but his entire political career is in danger of coming undone when a secret is revealed after the death of his best friend, Ryan. A secret that could also destroy the lives of 2 people Ryan left behind, his widow, Stephanie, and his daughter, Madison. Attempting to redefine herself, Madison starts a whirlwind romance with a DC intern. Things quickly become complicated, and Madison questions if she will ever be able to escape the shadow of her father's death. Meanwhile, Stephanie's attempt to reclaim happiness with an old flame risks igniting a scandal that could cost them both more than their hearts. 3 lives, 1 explosive revelation, and the kind of love that can either ruin you or set you free. Yep. And here on the front, I have 1 secret, 3 lives, a legacy on the line. And that's kind of what my shirt, it says, love or legacy. And let me tell you, okay, having read all of that, and maybe you can glean from what I've said, but just in case you can't, this is a romance book, okay? This is a romance book with a political backdrop. This book started off as 3 novellas, and they were interconnected. But what I did is I went back and collapsed them so that they would make 1 complete novel. Now, the story is still told in 3 parts, right? But I feel that it's a bit more cohesive, and 1 chapter flows into the next. So there's not really like an interruption of the story, if you will. And I wrote this story, I want to say probably the year after COVID, because there is some mention of the pandemic in here, because the story starts off in August of 2018. That's where this story begins. And I think I was in the middle, let me back up. I was in the middle of another story, another full-length novel that I had been teasing, and I even mentioned it in my last book that it would be coming out. And with everything that's going on right now in the United States of America, I wanted to like kind of put my 2 cents out there and have it kind of like, what's the word? Because most of the time, many of us who are, not really happy with the way things are going, right? We may chime in on social media. We may put a story up that disappears in 24 hours. And I felt like I wanted to revisit these characters because, ironically enough, the story takes place during the first presidential administration of the current president. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I felt like I could get my 2 cents in while also returning to my roots of writing romance and contemporary fiction stories. And this one, it's so many characters. There's a lot of points of view. Well, I mean, not a lot. The main points of view, there's only like 3 main points of view, but there are other characters that kind of get their, what they have to say in. But I also feel like, there's a little drama. There's some revelations. There's some twists. There's a little spice. It's just, there's a lot, but it doesn't feel like a lot. In my opinion, as a reader, because I always try to look at my own work objectively. And as a reader, this is a book I would pick up and I would be like, oh my God, these people, what? She said, what he did. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that many of you will feel the same when you go out and purchase this book. You can go to my website, traciemomie.com, and I'll link it in the description. But you can go there and there'll be links to all the different places where you can purchase the book. And before y'all even try to type the question, there's also an audiobook version available. Okay. Now I'm doing something different with the audiobook version. So you're going to have to go to my website to check out what's happening with that. But I'm actually excited for you guys to give it a listen because, patting myself on the back. I did the production. I didn't do the voices. But I did do the production, and good Lord. The things I do for you readers, y'all better go get that audiobook. All of you people who have asked me every time I write a book, is it going to be audiobook? Is it going to be audiobook? You got your audiobook. So go listen and enjoy. Okay, first of all, for those of you who are probably watching and going, I didn't know she even wrote books. Yeah, like I said, this is my 8th book. And I have been writing stories since I was 13. I didn't publish my first book until 2015. But I always have, stories rattling around in my head. And I think that sometimes to my own detriment when I'm reading other people's books and I'm always complaining about the ending. In my mind, I'm thinking how I would have done it. But, authors write stories the way they want them to end. And I know that, but the writer in me still can't help but come out every now and then and go, girl, you should have, when you want to do that, write your own book. So this is what I wrote. I think Toni Morrison has a quote that says, if there's a book you want to read that isn't available yet, you must write it or something. I know I'm paraphrasing that. But anyway, I used to be very focused on dialogue and I would build the stories around that. And I think that I have evolved over the years. If you go back and read like my first book versus now. And but I still love the dialogue because the conversations often, and this is in real life too, give you insight to what a person is thinking and how they're feeling and who they are by the things that come out of their mouth, right? I already mentioned this in the opening when I was telling you guys about when I first wrote this book. But I think, again, going back to that time around COVID and everything that was going on, it was just this helplessness in all aspects, which has seemed to come back up. Like, this is deja freaking vu over here. But I felt like putting, I was going to say pen to paper, but I don't write longhand. I think it's just an expression at this point. Everybody's, typing. But I just felt like, let me get what I want to say and how I feel out through these characters in a book. Okay. So at its core, what is the candidate's betrayal really about beyond the politics and romance? At its core, it's a story about second chances in every aspect. Like second chance at a old love, second chance after losing a love, second chance after thinking that you didn't have any chances left. It is a second chance romance at its core, okay? And it's all about not giving up because of things like age, because I do have mature characters that start off at 48 when the story begins and go into their 50s, about age, distance, time, or any of those things, because I think a lot of times people may talk themselves out of either doing something or being with someone because of all these obstacles that are in the way, but you can overcome any of that, if you really want to. Okay. Was there a character who surprised you while you were writing, and why? So in the book, James Griffin, our senatorial hopeful and the main male character, he has an assistant, a friend, and a press secretary since he's been, in politics, right? Or since he's kind of gotten into public service. And her name is Carmen Cho. She is an Asian character, an Asian woman. And I got a little inspiration from her character, just a skosh, from Ali Wong. But what surprised me when I started writing her character is how similar we were in some veins, because Carmen is suspicious of everybody. Everybody has an agenda, even if they don't have an agenda. And I feel like that sometimes I can never just take things at face value. Never, never, never have I been like that. And Carmen's the same way. If somebody's doing something and it seems too good to be true, she's like, it's too good to be true. What are you really after? And I think it surprised me. I was just laughing because she has a couple of chapters in her POV in the book. And that was something else. I wasn't even going to do that. Like, I was only going to have the main male character, James, the main female character, Stephanie, and the other supporting or main female character, Madison, who are the three people I mentioned in the blurb. They were going to be the only ones telling the story. But I felt like I couldn't do it justice, just saying how Carmen felt. Like, she had to say it in her own words. And that led me to go, well, let me let this person say what they're feeling as well. So I think Carmen's character surprised me the most and delighted me as well. She's very, ironically, for this to be a book with a political backdrop, she is not politically correct at all. So keep that in mind. Which I will step back for a second with the trigger warnings. There, obviously when the book starts off, there's a death. It's not graphic by any nature. I don't, well, later in the book we might talk about that, but it's not graphic, as far as blood and gore. It's not that kind of graphic. But there's explicit language because, just like Carmen, I'm a fan of some 4-letter words and longer. There are some sexual situations. And, for those of you who care, there's some left-leaning political speeches and ideologies. Okay. Let's see. What does your writing process actually look like when you're deep in a story? I think most writers will tell you, I think initially when you have an idea for a story as a writer, you're excited because, oh my God, this will make such a great book. Then you start writing it and then you start having doubts like, okay, this shit sounds stupid. Maybe. Then you have doubts that, can you finish it? Can you pull it together? Then once you push past that, you're like, oh, this is pretty good. Okay. Then you have your nervous feeling again that maybe it's not all that great. And then when you finally finish it and you're like, okay, this, people are going to like this. People are going to like this. Then when it actually comes out and it's bound already, you are nervous as hell that you didn't really convey the story the right way, and people aren't going to get out of it what you expect for them to get. Happens all the time. But I, am a firm believer, because I'm a reader. Once you put the book out into the world, you cannot control the experience the reader has with it at all. And you just got to be okay with that. And for the most part, I am. Okay, so having said that, there is still, an overarching message that I hope is not lost on readers. And basically what that is, number one, to get on a little soapbox and to get a little serious for a second. I hope that people, when they read this, that they actually realize how important it is to elect people who really give a damn about you, who really give a damn about your circumstances, who aren't really in it for some self-fulfilling prophecy. And I know that's hard, because so many people, and as James talks about in the book, politics, like, I can see how that could be a power trip, and how people can easily forget how they got to where they got to, and they forget about the people they're supposed to be helping or supporting. Yeah, so I hope, number one, that people feel the urgency to go out and vote, that they vote for people who at least, are trying to be better and do better and want better for their communities and the, country at large. And then the other thing, again, with the whole second chances, I hope that people get that we are all flawed. It is so easy to sit back and judge, because we all have our own individual boundaries. There are certain things I would never do, right? And I'm saying I'm being like sarcastic as everybody watching and everybody listening or in the world. Like, we all do that. I would never, or I could never, or I don't, you project your things out into the world. But there are people who are really good people that make mistakes, because the longer you live, and many people, you'll realize this, or maybe if you're at this point, this, you're going to do some dumb shit, because you're only human, right? And a lot of us, really, the only thing that has saved us really from making some major mistakes is we didn't have the opportunity to do so. We weren't in a position, we weren't given, an opportunity to make mistakes, right? But sometimes people, when they're given the opportunity or an opportunity presents itself, they make, the wrong decision. But I do believe that, people can be redeemed. People can be redeemed if they truly are sincere about changing their behavior. Let's go there. Okay, that's what it's all about. And I think every character in this book has done some shit where you're just like, oh, I would be done with that person. But sometimes love is not done with you. Okay, and you got to think about that and how you want to spend the rest of your life, especially as you get older. Right. So I just really hope that this book, that the readers will find some sort of entertainment from it, first and foremost, because it's all meant to be entertaining. A lot of things are made up in here. I also hope that readers, it does, maybe make you think, because oftentimes, art imitates real life. And fiction, even though it's fiction, you can find things that are relatable or some lessons to be learned. And I just hope, you guys remember, in the words of the great poet Erykah Badu, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. These were my words, my way of putting together a story that I felt, at least the readers who have read my books in the past, this is really for them. Because at this point, 8 books in, I'm familiar with what my audience is looking for. That makes me think about Tyler Perry. He gets a lot of criticism, and I have been one of his critics about the type of work that he puts out. He has a base audience. That's why he keeps getting more movies or getting greenlit to, be on Netflix and to do all this stuff, because people are watching. He has a core base of fans that he's producing those movies for. It's not for the people who say, what's wrong with these wigs? Why are these characters this way? It's for the people who get it. If you get it, you get it. And I feel like 8 books in, that's kind of where I am. I would love to have new readers come on this journey and read my work and get it and enjoy it. But I understand that it's not for everyone. But having said that, maybe this one will be the one to get you into the fold. So go now and get my new release, The Candidate's Betrayal. You can go to traciemomie.com and make sure that you share this with the book readers in your life. And even if you just want to support, buy one for yourself and buy one for a friend. I sincerely appreciate everyone who has come on this writing journey with me. I sincerely appreciate everyone who has read the books, who have reviewed the books, who have shared the books, for all the events I've been invited to. You guys just don't know the validation in that form, that as a writer, just having people resonate with your work and be excited when you put out new material is just, it's just an indescribable feeling. So thank you. And also thank you to all my YouTube viewers who are watching this now, all of you who have subscribed to my channel. If you haven't, go ahead and take the opportunity to do so now. And again, traciemomie.com, The Candidate's Betrayal. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I look forward to hearing what you thought about the book. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.